a favor so I won't get hoarse and...
Tell me when you're picking up the audio. There we go.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't walk.
Well, hello there, Access 8.
All right, Phil.
We're live right here at Gwinnett. Right now you're watching the Port Jervis cheerleaders. It's about 7:10, and we're going to be bringing you football again live this week on Access 8 and on WDLC 1490. We'll have our pregame show in about 10 minutes or so. Right now, we'll just let you listen to the sounds and watch the sights here at Gwinnett, as we expect a big crowd on hand for this football game, as undefeated state-ranked Port Jervis entertains 2-1 Warwick in what is a do-or-die game for the Wildcats of Warwick. Warwick has yet to make an appearance on the field. Coach George St. Lawrence likes to do some psychological things in his coaching, and it looks like he's going to keep his boys off the field until just before game time, just before the toss of the coin. Port Jervis warmed up some time ago. They're now off the field. The officials are out the center of the field waiting for the entrance of both teams, and we're going to have us a good one tonight. So the pregame show will be coming on in about 10 minutes. Right now, we'll just let you listen to the sounds and watch the sights of Gwinnett Field. Port Jervis cheerleaders out there. And we'll have one or two of the girls up here at halftime. They're going to be telling you about some of their fundraising activities for their big trip to Texas. Warwick down there. Warwick Wildcats are now taking the field. And as you can see, they've got a lot of players on their roster, close to 50. And the great advantage that Port Jervis has had so far this season, besides their talent, has been the fact that they've been able to wear down each of the opponents they've played. That should not be a big factor tonight, as Warwick is very deep as well. Do they have the talent, though, to stay with Port Jervis? That's the question. Zarski. That's the tight end. Yeah. He said a couple of minutes. All right. Yeah, we're right here, Bob Ween, Phil Dusenberry and Phil Dusenberry Jr. here at Gwinnett. Okay, how does this sound? How does this sound? Okay, I got myself down here while I'm nice and calm. All right, we'll see how this works. And you let me know if we're still coming in a little bit too loud. Oh, very good. Okay, that's about as far as I can go. Very good. Well, speaking of hot, we're going to have ourselves a hot football game tonight here at Gwinnett. Very big crowd should be on hand. These Friday night games, we always have a late arriving crowd. Bleachers over here on the Port Jervis side getting filled. Fans over there feeding on the hot dogs. Warwick Wildcats just made their entrance onto the field. Very late entrance. They're now warming up. Warwick tonight dressed in their white with purple trim. Port Jervis warmed up earlier. They're still back in the locker room. We're awaiting their re-entry into the field. Boy, what a big game we got tonight. Port Jervis ranked number 7 in the state, the number 7 B school in New York State, going up against Warwick. Port is 3-0, Warwick 2-1. The Wildcats have an honorable mention in the state rankings. And that is the big game on tap tonight. People know if Port Jervis wins this game tonight, that they're a lock. They are a shoe-in for that Class B title game up in Kingston. So just as everybody in the county was rooting for Port Jervis to defeat Goshen 2 weeks ago here, tonight you can bet that just about everybody in the league will be pulling for Warwick. All right, Port Jervis getting ready to make their re-entry onto the field. And we'll take a look at the starting lineups, etc. in just a moment. Let's take a look at the schedule in Section 9, games that we're most interested in. Other games being played tonight in Division 1. Monroe Woodbury is over at Middletown, and that's a very big game. Middletown, been kingpins for so long. They are 1-2, and Monroe Woodbury is unbeaten. This will be the first real test for the Crusaders. Speaking of teams getting beaten up in that Division 1, North Rockland last week. Of course, North Rockland has been the king of this area for the last few years. North Rockland got whipped last week by New Rochelle, 33-0. So maybe that's an omen of the changing of the guard of powerhouses here in this Hudson Valley region, Section 1 and Section 9 particularly. Another big game up there in Division 1. Kingston will be playing at Pine Bush tonight. Kingston also unbeaten. Pine Bush 2-1. Tomorrow, Class B, the other Class B action, we'll see Minnesink at Cornwall, New Paltz at Goshen, and Saugerties at Wallkill. And up in the Class 4, in the D division, tomorrow will be opening day for them. Eldred will be playing at Delaware Valley. DV's 1-2, and they're going to be mad, I think. Could be a long afternoon for the Yellow Jackets. Roscoe, surprisingly, is 3-0. They'll be playing Jeff Youngsville, and Tri-Valley will be playing Livingston Manor. Tomorrow also up in the C, a couple of big games. Ontior will be at Highland. Highland is unbeaten, 3-0. They are state ranked. They're number 11 in the C category in New York State, and they are a strong ball club. Another big game up there in Division 3 will be surprising James I. O'Neill, unbeaten, 3-0. will be playing at Marlboro with Dermal Brown. Marlboro 2-1. That's a very big game up there. So a lot of great football action this weekend, starting tonight right here at Gwinnett, as we have the Port Jervis Red Raiders entertaining the Warwick Wildcats. Port Jervis comes into this game 3-0. They defeated Cornwall 53-0. Goshen 35-15 in a very big game. And last week they just blew out Rondout Valley 38-0. Warwick, meanwhile, lost its opener to Goshen, the one common opponent that these two teams have. That score was 34-28, Goshen over Warwick. Then the last 2 weeks, Warwick got by Marlboro 22-20, and last week they whipped New Paltz 40-20. New Paltz scoring at the end of the game. That was a game not quite as close as the score might indicate. Big thing tonight is the Port Jervis offense. Now look at some of these stats. They have gained 1,102 net yards on offense. They have scored 126 points. Now 126 points is just 8 points less than they scored in all of 1989. And that 1989 Raider team was 6-3. They actually ended up 7-3. They had a forfeit with Cornwall thrown in there. And that gives you an idea of the kind of firepower that this Port Jervis offense has. Warwick has been very solid on offense. They've scored 90 points, all on the ground, and with one kickoff return and an interception return thrown in there. But their defense, the Warwick defense, has been suspect. They've given up 74 points, and you can bet that Warwick coach George St. Lawrence is going to change up tonight. One thing about St. Lawrence, you never know from 1 week to the next what he's going to do. I expect to see some changes on defense tonight, and let's see what Warwick does against Port Jervis. Port Jervis defense has been phenomenal. 15 points, 2 shutouts. They're ready for the toss of the coin, Phil.
Warwick's defense has to be tough tonight because they're going to be facing an offense that has a lot of depth with 6 running backs who can do the job by themselves.
Yeah, when you talk about these Port Jervis running backs, and this is what they've done, they've just shuttled in these teams of running backs, and by the time you get to the second and third team near the end of the game, they have just worn down the opponents, and they have scored big. Big example is third-team fullback Robert Flores, a freshman. Now get these statistics. Flores has touched the ball 9 times. He's carried 9 times for 154 yards. That's a 17.1 average. Of those 9 carries, 4 of the times he scored touchdowns. That's just a phenomenal statistic. He's only a freshman. This Port Jervis team has a lot of good young kids on it. Another one is the split end Sean Theodore, who's made 9 receptions this season for 166 yards. Scored 2 touchdowns last week. Theodore only a sophomore. And of course, he's part of that offensive line. That interior offensive line of Port Jervis has been outstanding. And there are 3 juniors in that bunch. They're anchored by right tackle Harold Bamos, a senior. But then the right guard Mike Zouch is a junior. The center Jacob Len, first-year player, he's a senior. The left side, Nick Ferrara at left guard. Mike Provenzano at left tackle. They're both juniors. And Big Bill Onifrey, the tight end, is also a junior. So it's not that Port has a big veteran team. They just have one tough team, all young kids. But the key to this team so far this year offensively has been the quarterback, Frankie Theodore, who has been sensational. He's completed 58.3% of his passes for 415 yards. He's scored 4 touchdowns rushing. He's thrown 4 touchdown passes. And while rushing, he's been averaging 7.3 yards per carry. Phenomenal. For Warwick, Dave Iannicelli, leading scorer in Division 2, 50 points. We'll talk more about it right after the national anthem. the fans are ready for this game. Warwick knows it's do or die for them. The top two teams will play for the Class B championship, and right now, Warwick already has one loss on its record. It cannot afford to lose tonight because chances are Goshen will not lose any more league games this year. So Port Jervis can pull off a big victory tonight. What they have to do tonight is stop Davey and Asili. Scored 50 points, the leading scorer in the division. 8 touchdowns, 6 of them on runs. The diminutive 5'10", 165-pound scat back. And we are ready for the kickoff, and Port Jervis will put its defense on the field first. Warwick happy to get that ball first. Their offense has been good, very solid this year. We expect to see some points scored tonight. Would you agree with that, Phil?
Yes, you got two very good offenses going up against each other, and the key to this game is going to be whose defense plays better, and that will be the winner of this ball game.
All right, Mark Hendry, who's going to kick off, has come over the sideline, talking to Coach Ronnie Semerano. So we have a little delay on the field. Maybe another mouthpiece or something. Okay, Henry's back in there. Mann and Ian Asili, I believe, are deep, standing inside the 10-yard line. Double threat. These are a couple of good return men. Hendry, the sidewinder, approaches the ball. Short spinning kick. It's going to hit, skips, picked up at the 21-yard line by Mann. Goes left. Down the sideline, driven out of bounds near midfield. So a big return, good field position for the Wildcats.
Definitely was like a set play right there where they just had all the blockers go to the left so they can get their speedsters outside and try to get on this board quick and try to defuse Port Jervis.
47-yard line, 26-yard return by Mann. That's one of the strengths of this team. Okay, here come the Wildcats up to the line of scrimmage. Big offensive line. And we've got a split backfield. Straight dive in. Asili, nowhere to go. He's met at the line of scrimmage. Gets a yard, possibly 2. And who's down at the bottom of that pile?
Number 30, Robert Flores.
And 15, Sean Theodore, who is a super soft defensive end, knifing in. Ian Asili picks up 2. Boy, nothing fancy on that. Last year, they tried to run outside against Port Jervis. They got burned. Port shut them out 15-0 over at Warwick in the rain. We expect to see more straight up the gut running. I formation. Jeff Green is the quarterback. Pitch sweep. Ian Asili hit in the backfield and dropped for a loss. This time it's Matt Davies, the junior linebacker, coming in with a vicious hit.
Pitch to the right side, Matt Davies. Nobody blocked him. Right on the diagonal. Took a diagonal route towards the running back, which is the fastest way to go against a quick one, rather than side to side. They made the hit.
Oh, you got a 3rd and 10 now. Big Gannon, the fullback, is out. As Jeff Green, who has yet to throw any touchdown passes this season, might be going up top as he's got his 2 little scat backs in there, Ian Asili and DeFazio. They're over here at the near side of the field. Backs are split. They're going to run. DeFazio in the hole to the left. Stopped short of the first down, however, as Jason Kamar came up from his safety slot. So it's going to be a 4th and about 3. The ball at the Port Jervis 46-yard line.
Warwick on offense is trying to trick the Port Jervis defense by putting many formations up there and switching out of them to try to confuse this Port Jervis defense, and it doesn't look like it worked too well.
Well, they had a nice opening off that left side. 4th and 3, and up. It looks like they're going to go for it. Maybe they'll try and draw Port Jervis offside. And Port Jervis wisely calls a timeout as they had their punt return unit on. So timeout on the field. The score is 0-0. Let's go back to the studio for this commercial message. right, we've got a 4th down and a long 3 coming up for Warwick. They set up to run a play. Port Jervis called a timeout. I think maybe they might just be trying to draw them offside, but let's wait and see if they run the play. They split the backfield. They got Big Gannon in there now, along with DeFazio. Green looking to pass, throws left, the pass is blocked, but it's picked off. And Mann's got the sideline, 1 man to beat, and Kmar makes the tackle at the 27. The ball deflected at the line of scrimmage, but Mann, who was wide open, made the reception. 1st down.
Nothing Port Jervis can do about that. They had everybody covered. The ball was even tipped. Happy birthday, Warwick. You only get a couple of those a game, so they better capitalize on that.
Let's see if they do. A 19-yard pickup down to the Port Jervis 27-yard line. 9 minutes, 35 seconds left to play 1st quarter. No score. 1st series of the game. Warwick with a potent offense on the field. The ball over near the left hash mark. They keep flip-flopping their tight end. Up the middle, big Jeremiah Gannon goes up the gut for about 5 as he gets close to the 22-yard line.
Warwick trying to mix it up. Outside pass, outside run, then up the gut. This is just mostly trying to confuse this young Port Jervis defense.
Ball just outside the 22. We'll call it officially a pickup of 3. It's 2nd and a very long pickup of 5, 2nd and a long 5. Gannon, the fullback, sophomore, 6'2", 215 pounds. He's a tough load to bring down. Throw set. Gannon again up the middle, getting close to the 1st down, right up the gut. We talked to Coach St. Lawrence last week, and I commended him for what he did last year. He got whipped by Port Jervis trying to run outside, and he adjusted the next week, ran right up the gut against Minisink Valley, and they defeated Minisink. So he's thinking the same thing. We've got a 3rd and 1 now, the ball at the Port 18-yard line. Okay, motion goes right. Green calls the signals. There goes the right halfback. Ian is still driving to just outside the 10-yard line.
Yes, last year I played for Minisink on that defense against Warwick, and on the 1st drive of the game, they went down and scored on us. But we shut them out the rest of the game. That could be what's going to happen here, because you do get used to running up the gut, and Port Jervis will get used to the play selection that Warwick has for them.
They got big Steve Lyon in there now with Harold Balmos as the tackles. It's 1st and 10. The ball just outside the 10. Ball in the middle of the field. Jeff Green, the senior, gives up the middle. Not much room there as Ian Asili lowered his head and still managed to pick up good yardage, maybe down to about the 7. Ian Asili has scored 6 touchdowns on the ground this season. Total of 50 points. All right, Gannon comes in from the sideline, kind of delayed with the play. DeFazio goes out, so they're rotating the plays in with the running backs. Green, who's been a 3-year starter now for Warwick, is number 11. He's the quarterback. Okay, they got a slot left, but they put the slot man now in motion to the right side. Green fumbles the snap, picks it up, and he picks up maybe a yard. Ball coming right back to Green. Fortuitous bounce. It'll be 3rd down.
Matt Davies finally got a hold of Green to bring him down after the ball was fumbled. Warwick's offensive line has to keep this good intensity up all game. You cannot get all happy and jolly over this one drive if they do score.
They got a good line. Steve Dinetz and George Card, who's 265, the tacklers. Jay Clayton, Ryan Finley, the guards, and Chuck Catanese is the center. All right, back split again. The smaller backs are in there. Again, we got motion. Okay, running the option. Pitch out. Race for the corner, and it's a touchdown for Warwick. DeFazio. Somebody threw a nice block on Hendry out there. So Warwick mixes it up, goes down the field, and takes a 6-0 lead. So that Warwick offense is potent. It has been all season.
That's a good play to run on a goal line kind of offense with the Port Jervis goal line defense in with the bigger people.
Ormer, the freshman, with a point after. It's good. So Warwick jumps out to a 7-0 lead, and we'll be back with the kickoff after this commercial message. right, let's summarize. That was a 53-yard drive in 10 plays to open the game. And at the 6:21 mark, it is Warwick 7 and Port Jervis nothing. So the Red Raider defense is going to be challenged. Let's see what happens now to the Red Raider offense.
Red Raider defense will come back. They're not gone. They'll learn from their lesson on the first drive.
Well, Goshen got off to a quick start also 2 weeks ago. All right, Gannon, the sophomore, kicks it off the edge of his foot, angling for the far sideline, and it goes out of bounds at about the 21. So, whew, that was a tough decision over there. It looked like Steve Ross, was almost going to pick that thing up, but he wisely let it go out of bounds, and now Port will have the choice as to what they want to do. Penalty and a re-kick, take it at the 40 or take it at the line of scrimmage.
Last week they made the Roundout Valley re-kick, I do believe, on the situation, but I don't think it looks that way today.
Greg Auerbach out there discussing things with the referee. Port Jervis, of course, has a couple of dangerous return men of their own out there. And Port is going to put the ball in play from its own 35. Used to be the 40, now it's the 35. So 1st and 10 for Port Jervis. The Raiders at their own 35-yard line. Warwick on top, 7-0. And Warwick now with a 5-man front. It's really a 4-4, but they put that outside linebacker right up on the line of scrimmage. Frankie Theodore in there with DeRoma, and Van Dyke with a hole. But he can't break the back, and Ian Asili makes the tackle after a short gain.
There's one thing about Van Dyke that I don't like, but he does have a lot of good things I do like. He has to learn how to, when the hole's open, hit that hole and then do your dancing or running like he can do. But you got to get to that hole first instead of trying to break a big play every time.
Yeah, he gave Ian Asili time to get in there, and just a pickup of 2, 2nd and 8. Van Dyke again. Cuts back up the middle, and maybe a yard, and that's it. They're going to spot the ball at the 38, so it's a 1-yard pickup by Van Dyke. So Frankie T leads his team up to the line of scrimmage. Big defensive line up there for Warwick. They are big. Theodore back to pass over the middle to his brother. First down. Sean Theodore gets inside the Warwick territory down to the Warwick 49.
Eric Rule, the 6'2 senior from Warwick